The story of Adam, the first creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness was over the surface of the deep. Then, God spoke, and light came into existence. This marked the beginning of creation, as described in Genesis 1 verses 1 to 3. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty, darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. As God continued his work, he separated the waters, created dry land, and filled the earth with vegetation, animals, and all living things. On the sixth day, God made a special creation, man. In Genesis 1 verses 26 to 27, it is written, "Then God said, Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created mankind in his own image, in the image of God he created them, male and female he created them. Thus, Adam was formed from the dust of the ground, and God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, making him a living being, Genesis 2 verse 7. Adam awoke to a beautiful world, a paradise known as the Garden of Eden, filled with lush trees, vibrant flowers, and an abundance of animals. In this perfect setting, God walked with Adam, sharing a close and personal relationship with him. In the garden, God provided everything Adam needed, but he also gave him a command. In Genesis 2 verses 16 to 17, God said, "And the Lord God commanded the man, You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it you will certainly die." Adam was tasked with tending to the garden and naming the animals, a responsibility that brought him joy and purpose. However, as time passed, God saw that it was not good for Adam to be alone. In Genesis 2 verse 18, God declared, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." So, God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep and took one of his ribs, fashioning it into a woman, whom Adam named Eve. When Adam awoke and saw Eve, he exclaimed in joy, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh." Genesis 2 verse 23. Together, they lived in harmony, enjoying the beauty of creation and their intimate relationship with God. However, the tranquility of the garden was soon disrupted. The serpent, more cunning than any of the wild animals, tempted Eve to eat from the forbidden tree. In Genesis 3 verses 4 to 5, the serpent said, "You will not certainly die, for God knows that when you eat from it your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Eve, enticed by the serpent's words, took the fruit and shared it with Adam. In that moment, their eyes were opened, and they realized their nakedness, feeling shame for the first time. They tried to hide from God among the trees of the garden. When God called out to Adam, asking where he was, Adam replied, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." Genesis 3 verse 10. This marked the beginning of humanity's struggle with sin and separation from God. Despite their disobedience, God provided a promise of redemption. In Genesis 3 verse 15, he spoke to the serpent, saying, "And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." Though Adam and Eve were banished from the garden, they were not abandoned. God continued to care for them, providing clothing and guiding them as they began their life outside Eden. Adam and Eve would go on to have children, and through their lineage, the promise of salvation would eventually be fulfilled in Jesus Christ. The story of Adam is a profound reminder of God's love, the gift of free will, and the hope of redemption that is woven throughout the biblical narrative. It teaches us about the importance of obedience, the consequences of sin, and the unending grace of God.